As an athlete, Smitty could do anything. I mean, if you gave, as a basketball player, I mean, he wasn't the fanciest guy in the world, but on the teams that we played on, we won 2 Maritime Championships, and he was an integral part of point guard on that team. And he was a great bowler, great curler, good ball player, good golfer. It almost seemed like whatever he wanted to do, he was really, really good at whatever he picked up.
Smitty is more than just hockey and baseball, and that he was really good. I got to meet him around when I was, like I say, 10, 11 years old. And one day when our Little League ball team was playing in town, his mother and father had us over for lunch, and I was in awe of all the trophies and medals and banners and that and plaques that he accumulated over a short period of time. There were over 50 in his living room.
He was a team player, full of pep, upbeat, that kind of guy. Now, he was only 15, and all the teammates were war veterans, Willie Benry and Tom Parker, Lou, and those fellows. And he was 15, and they had been around the world, so he took over as catcher, and he did a great job. But that was the theme. He was a team player all the way through in that and everything that he did.
He was not just a friend, he was almost like an uncle to us, to the Boyds. He played important roles in the youth, in the community, and the sports for the youth community in Enfield and the surrounding area. You know, football, baseball, and even hockey, where he was involved with the East Hants Penguins for so many years.
I can remember back in the day, in the early 60s, when there was talk of trying to put a junior league together. There had been junior teams, but really hadn't been a league for years. So the talk started, and Ron and a few of other people out here in the area decided that probably it would be a good thing if they tried to put a team together here. And they worked at it, and they actually were one of the founding members of the team. I think Ron and Jerry Boyd's father, Don. Ron, is and still is a founding member of that league. That was the Metro Valley Junior Hockey League at the time, which is now the Maritime Hockey League, actually.
In 1967, I was living on Windsor Street in Halifax, and my playing days were over. So there was a knock come at the door, and I opened the door. It was Ron and a guy named Don Boyd, who I'd never met. So they had this idea that they wanted to put this hockey team in a newly formed league called the Metro Valley Junior Hockey League, and they wanted to have it comprised of mostly kids from the Enfield, Lance, Elmsdale, Stewiacke area. I wasn't sure at first, but Ron was very convincing and dedicated, so I said, yeah, let's give it a try.
And with a circle of friends like that, you can do things. You can, politics or sports or organization or business, it's gathering people around you. It's not what you can do. It's what you can do as a team with others. And Ron excelled in that, and that is basically why you're honoring him here tonight.
Ron was always a bundle of something going on, and he was a good manager of the team because he looked after all of the details, and him and Don Boyd made a good, they were a good team. But Ron was always worried about something, and it didn't matter what, but he was always running around with papers in his hand or trying to clear up something, or somebody did something that he had to look after. So he was always a bundle of, I won't say nerves, but always something needed to be done, and he was going to do it.
I can remember times in that old building over there when they'd be through the rafters watching games against Truro. I think it had a big effect, not only in East Hants, but that whole league right across the province had an effect. And I think Ron was one of the guys that had so much to do with that, because what also happened with that was he ran the Penguins, I think, up until about 1972. And they needed a president for the league, and Ron then took over as president and ran that league until 1981, I think. And from there, Ron was also the guy that was instrumental in putting that league from Junior B to Junior A. So, I mean, it wasn't just running the Penguins, it was getting that whole league off the ground and going almost to where it is today.
Smitty was quite an outdoorsman. A lot of people don't know that, but fishing and hunting, he really enjoyed it. And we formed this club, and every year, at the end of the year, we'd have an awards night where we'd start off having a wild meat supper, and then we'd have games of darts and pool and cards, and we'd have awards for the cards and the darts and the pool, but we'd also have awards for the largest deer and the biggest deer, etc. And it was quite a night, and Smitty looked after that, hosted for, like I say, 21 years. It's just one of those extra things that Smitty did with regard to sports.
When we had the Junior A team out here, Ron's place was the social place. That's where everybody went after the games, before the games, on weekends, in between games. That was the place. When you went away, Ron was the social director. I mean, that's just the type of guy he was. I mean, people loved him, and he loved to party. There's no question about that. But everybody loved him for it. That's an honorable, great, fun guy to be around.
Ron is the kind of guy that if I needed something and I called Ron at lunch hour today, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he'd be doing something about it. He's a people pleaser, and although he tends once in a while to get his back up a little bit if things aren't going his way, but other than that, he's just, in my view at least, a super guy, and he's been a friend for an awful long time, 50 or 60 years.
I'd say Ron would be a sports enthusiast, and he just loved sports, and he wanted other people to enjoy it as much as he did and have the opportunity. I mean, there were a lot of kids in East Hants that would never have gotten a chance in sports unless Ron Smith was here.
I want to show you two pictures. One is the Enfield Little League baseball team. There are a few people I recognize here. Robbie Parker, Jerry Boyd, Billy Parker receiving a trophy. I guess we won the championship. There's Angus Horn is here somewhere. And I'm going to show you the next photo. This is my son Leon. He's kissing the World Cup that he won with the Dutch national team in 2011 in Panama. He played in the Beijing Olympics, so he had some incredible experiences that he would never have had we not got into baseball. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have been exposed to baseball myself. So that's the legacy. And I want to thank Smitty, who helped the youth in their youth sports, and it made such a difference. And it's a difference you don't know at the moment, but years later on can have a big difference in somebody's life.
I don't know if anybody was any more honorable than Ron Smith. And if he found people that, it kind of disappointed him, I think, when he found people that wasn't the same as what he was, because he kind of expected everybody to be, like he was, and it just wasn't the case.
Very few people know this. Ron was a developer, and with Don Boyd. And Ron purchased the John Wright property. And I won't get into the details of it, but if it wasn't for Ron Smith, there wouldn't be any Lions Park there today. So if you're talking about a sports builder, Ron's your man.
The thing about Ron is that he devoted so many hours to sports, and probably a lot of dollars too, but he's an organizer and promoter and a builder of all these sports. And if I was going to say what should people remember him for, it's being a builder, I think, of sports. And with the hockey, like the junior hockey, he and my dad and others, the time that they spent promoting that, and it's a legacy, I think, that is very important for young people to realize.
If you were going to frame a friend and say you were looking for a friend, Ron Smith is the type of person that would be the ultimate friend, because he's the type of guy, he'd give you the shirt off his back. If you had to say what makes a friend, you'd take a picture of Ron Smith in his life and say, this is a friend. And that's basically, I think, what I could say about Ron Smith.
2015 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, Ron Smitty Smith.